Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be learning how to make this beautiful sundress with puff sleeve and underbust corset. It's a very simple tutorial. If this is what you are interested in, let's get right into it. So we first get our pattern paper. You're going to mark your starting line just like we do. Then you mark your armhole measurement. You mark your bust point, your underbust, and then the length of your waist from your shoulder. Mine is 16 inches. You're going to extend these points in a horizontal line. Then make sure to label your lines. So we have our chest line or our armhole line, our bust point, underbust, and then our waistline. So you mark your shoulder to shoulder divided by 2. Mine is 6.5 plus half inches sewing allowance. You mark the same on the chest line. Then connect these points in a vertical line. So now you're going to mark your bust divided by 4. Then on your waistline, you mark your waist divided by 4. Connect these points in a dotted line for reference. So we are going to be marking our neckline. I used 3.2 inches for the neck width and then came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. So connect that point to the 1 inch mark on the shoulder line. So for the neck depth of the back, I came down by 1.5 inches. Then connected these points to form a curve. So now we have our back neckline. And to form the front neckline, you can decide to go below the chest line if you want to show a little bit of cleavage, but I came up by 1 inch from the chest line. And that is my neckline for the front. Then you're going to connect it in a curve to join these points together. Remember, if you want to show a little bit of cleavage, you can go down the chest line or even to the underbust line, okay? So I'm going to be marking my dart point. That is my nipple to nipple divided by 2. Mine is 8 divided by 2 is 4 inches. And that's what I'm marking. So come down by a half inch from the bust point. This will create ease for the nipple when you wear the dress. Then you are going to connect these points in a vertical line. Remember, that is our dart line. So I came out on each side by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect it from the half inch mark below the bust point to the 1 inch mark on the waistline. I hope you understand. So now we have our dart line in place. So we are going to be extending the waist for the basque effect. I came down by 4 inch. Then you're going to connect it in a slanted line like so. So you're going to extend the dart lines onto the basque line. I realized I made the mistake, so I corrected it over there. Okay. So this is our front. Then you're going to curve it to form the armhole. So we are going to be replacing our dart intake. So you are supposed to actually replace what you have, but for beginner's sake, I'm going to be adding 2 inches on each side, okay? So add 2 inch onto the chest line, onto the underbust, and onto the waistline. It makes it easier to understand. I hope you get it. So you are going to be connecting the extended dart intake or dart allowance back into the bust point. I hope you understand. You can now go ahead and cut out. But before that, when you get to that point, make sure you flip it over like I'm doing and then redraw your bust area. If not, you're going to have shortage when you cut it on the fabric. So just as you see me do, you fold over your dart and then you retake or you redraw your bust effect. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. I really appreciate you, my subscribers. So now we have our front pattern and we are going to use the same pattern to cut out our back pattern. Remember, I did not add any sewing allowance on the pattern paper. So to draw out your back pattern, you are going to slide the front pattern about 2 inches from the side and you're going to extend the lines just as you see me doing. It makes it easier to trace out the lines on the front pattern. So you're going to extend these points in a straight line and you can go ahead and label it just as you did for the front, okay? I also indicated the part where the dart line is on the back pattern. Remember, we are working on the back pattern now. And for the back dart, what you're going to do is from the chest line, you're going to move up by 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Go out by 1 inch on both sides. Then connect it to form the dart line of the back. After drawing the dart line for the back, we are going to be having just a single piece for the back. Remember, this is going to be on fold. I do not want any darts showing in my back pattern or back panel. So I'm going to be flipping the dart lines over each other. So you flip one side onto the other and you're going to secure it with a masking tape just like I've done. We're going to be reshaping the bust area for the back later on. So now we move to the front. We are going to go ahead and cut out the neckline for the front. Remember, I came up by 1 inch from the chest line. Like I said, you can even decide to go down. And then remember this, whenever you have any slant neckline or curved neckline, remember to create this fake dart. Just slide it in a diagonal way and then flip it over and secure with a masking tape. It helps the neckline to lie flat. Always remember to do this whenever you have a slant or curved neckline, okay? Just create this slant diagonal line and then flip it over. So now we are going to be marking our bust or under bust effect. So you curve from the neckline or the point above the chest line. Then you're going to curve it into the under bust line and cut it out like so. And I'm going to flip over the under bust so that we will have just a single piece as well to close up the dart for the waist bust or the under bust. Remember, this is the front pattern, okay? So we're going to be working on the bodice or the upper bodice. So you slash it open like I'm doing. Then you're going to slash another line on the side. That is what we are going to be using to create the gathering effect. Just slide depending on how much gathering you want. And then you see there is a fold in the armhole area. So close it up. That way you have a very flat armhole as well. Make sure you close up every gape. That is why pattern drafting is very important. So this is what we are going to be having, okay? And then we have one piece for the back. So I'm going to use the pattern paper to cut out the fashion fabric and then the lining. This is the upper bodice, or the uppermost part of the front panel. I hope you understand. So I added 2 inches allowance on the side. Remember, I did not add any sewing allowance on the pattern paper. So I'm going ahead to cut 2 pieces for the back. I mean 2 pieces for the fashion fabric and 2 pieces for the lining of the back. Remember, we have an invisible dot in the back pattern, or the back panel, okay? So this is what we have for the front. I also went ahead to cut 2 pieces for the uppermost part of the front, or the bust area, for the fashion fabric, and then that of the lining. So we're going to be sewing the neckline only. For the back neckline, I'm going to sew the neckline before I'll slash open to create the zipper allowance, okay? I also added 2 inches for zipper allowance for the back. So I've gone ahead to do that. Sew with 1/4 inches for the neckline of the back. Then when you flip it over, this is what you have. You're going to also top stitch, making sure the allowance pushes towards the lining. You're going to iron it flat. Remember, that is the back one. So the front pattern too as well, I went ahead to sew the neckline with 1/4 inches. Then when you flip it over, this is what you have. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Welcome back once again. So I've gone ahead to sew the neckline for both the back and then the front. And this is the bust effect we have, or the underbust effect. Okay. So for the back, I'm now going to slash it open. Remember, I said I added 2 inches for zipper allowance of the back, but I usually like to sew my neckline before I slash it open. Okay, I hope you understand now. So let's work on the front panel. So what we are going to be doing for the front panel is we are going to be gathering the uppermost part to make sure it fits onto the underbust part. I hope you understand. So you can decide to pleat it or do a gathering stitch. I went ahead to do a gathering stitch, and I also did this decorative bias on the underbust part. No boning inserted, just a decorative bias. Now I've gone ahead to do a gathering stitch for the bust area. So you make sure you gather to fill up the gap on the underbust corset or bust effect. So you spread your gathering to make sure it fits in that area. So I've gone ahead to do that. What you're going to do is you're going to flip it front side facing each other, and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inches sewing allowance. So I've gone ahead to do that, and we are going to be covering the inside with a bias for a clean finish. So now we are going to be joining the shoulder seams together for both the front and then the back. And just like we do all the time, you flip it over like I'm doing. Just watch what I'm doing. You flip over the back and then the front pattern, front side facing each other, fashion fabric to fashion fabric and lining to lining, making sure the seams align. You're going to sew with 1/2 inches sewing allowance. If you go ahead to do this, you're going to have a very clean finishing for the shoulder line. I've also gone ahead to stitch out and iron out my zipper allowance. So now we are going to sew the side. So you're going to use the measurement of your upper bodice. Then you're going to sew onto the fashion fabric and then the lining. So I've gone ahead to take my measurement on the bodice, and this is what I have when you flip to the right side. So we have the top area almost done. So to cut out the down portion of this dress, you're going to bring in a long fashion fabric and lining. Mine is 2 yards. Then you're going to run a long stitch or loose stitch on the waistline, and you're going to be gathering it. So after gathering it, you're going to spread that gathered waistline of the lower bodice along the bottom of the upper bodice. So you spread evenly the gathers onto it, following the shape just like you see me doing. Then after doing that, what you're going to do is you're going to take it to the sewing machine. You're going to stitch with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So I've gone ahead to do that, and you flip it to the right side. This is what you have. What you're going to be doing next is you're going to take out all the stitches, the loose stitches you use for the gathers. When you do that, it releases the tension in the lower bodice. So you take your time, and you're going to take out all the thread that you use for the gathers. Our dress is almost ready. You see the basket effect and how beautiful the dress is coming out. So we are going to be cutting out the sleeve, which is the balloon puff sleeve. What you're going to do is you mark your armhole measurement plus 5 inches or even 10 inches depending on how much fabric you have. I added 5 inches to mine. And you're just going to curve it like so. You don't need any measurement again. You're going to cut it out in a straight line, just like you see me doing. So I'm going to use that part to cut out another part, or the second part of the sleeve. Then cut out the same just like you did for the first one. So now we have 2 pieces for the sleeve, one for the left and one for the right. What you're going to do is you're going to flip it front side or good side facing each other, making sure it aligns very well. And on any of the side on the armhole, whether left or right, you're going to go down by 1/2 inch on just one side, and you're going to curve it back into the armhole. That will be our front part of the sleeve. I hope you understand. Just watch what I'm doing. So you're going to reduce one side by 1/2 inch, then connect it back into the center part of the armhole. Make sure you notch so that you don't get confused when attaching it to the sleeve. So you're going to run a loose stitch on the top part of both of the sleeves, and you're going to be gathering it. So I'm going ahead to run the loose stitch, and I'm going to be gathering or creating gathers at the top part of the sleeve. I mean the part we'll be attaching to the dress. Make sure the gathers is at the center. That will create the balloon effect. So I'm going ahead to do that, and I'm going to be attaching it to the sleeve. Make sure the gathers is at the center of the shoulder joining of the dress. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you guys. Please comment, leave a comment. This will help my channel to grow. And then I've gone ahead to stitch with 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and this is what we have. You see the gathers at the center of the shoulder joining. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to be flipping the hem of the sleeve, or we are going to hem the sleeve. But we are going to be hemming with 1/2 inch sewing allowance. You top stitch first to create a channel. So that is where we'll be inserting our straps for the drawstring effect of the sleeve. So you sew with the allowance you have on each side. So we are going to be creating this tiny hole 1/2 inches from the center of the hem. You are going to be creating 2 tiny holes. You are going to insert the straps through these holes. So each sleeve has 2 straps. So I've gone ahead to do that, and then that is the drawstring effect that will give you the balloon sleeve. This type helps when you don't have the client's measurement, so that they can be able to adjust it as at when they like. You can also decide to use an elastic. So I've gone ahead to attach the zipper allowance, and this is the final look of the dress. I really like the outcome of this dress, and I hope you try it out. It's a very simple tutorial. Please comment if you find this video helpful. I really appreciate you subscribing and you visiting my channel. Bye.